Hello, everyone, and welcome into our debut episode of Marching On Together on the Benchwarmers podcast, a episode where we talk all things Leeds United. Today, we're going to discuss the outcomings of the Daniel Farke press conference, as well as previewing the Leeds West Ham game. Tomorrow morning New Zealand time, or Friday evening in the UK. So without further ado, let's get the ball rolling and start off with last weekend's game, of which I'm hoping that we've all managed to move on from a little bit. But it wasn't great, was it? Put it plainly, we were shocking. But in saying that, I don't think Burnley were better than us. I think they were just clinical with what they had in terms of shots, but at the same time, we were bad. Not good enough in front of the goal, and not good enough defensively. It's happened a few times this year where we've lapsed in certain areas and teams have taken advantage of it. And that's exactly what Burnley did. I don't think necessarily they scored. Second goal, bit of a screamer, but there's things that we could have done into the lead up of that goal better, which might not have happened. Same with the first goal. If we mark a bit better instead of ball watching, that first goal doesn't happen for me. But yeah, when you look at the game and break it down, we were the better team. 69% possession, 2.63 XG, 19 shots on goal, 4 shots on target, 4 of those being big chances. So everything for me pointed to us being a better team. Sorry, laptop's just gone off a little bit there. Back to that. So there's a few things to take out of that game, and hopefully Farke's learnt from his lessons, because he was at fault as well for me, as well as the players. Like I said, not enough effort there, but there's a few things that I thought maybe Farke could have done during the game, not on the field, Aronson missing that shot, not missing, sorry. For me, should have scored from that position. Harrison, his shot was awful. Perot's shot was awful. Bogle should have scored. There's a lot of players that were off in that game as well. Bogle goes under the radar. He wasn't good enough for me. Longstaff wasn't good enough on the day. We obviously, everybody knows, everybody's pointed out Struick, Stack. Could have Darlow done better with both the goals? I don't know. The whole team for me wasn't good enough. And then the man himself, Farke, gets a lot of the flack as well. But I think he could have potentially changed some of that formation. Tanaka, I think, has to come on a bit earlier just to change that game up. And for me, Harrison on the left, Aronson on the right. Aronson, don't get me wrong, he runs his heart out. He's defending really well, but we're just not getting that finished product from him. And when Harrison's on the other side, and I don't know why obviously Harrison's in the side at the moment because of injuries and that type of stuff, and because we didn't do good enough in the summer transfer window and bring in a winger. But for me, Harrison, at best, should be on the bench, coming on in the 81st minute, not starting, because it just doesn't work. And then when Calvert-Lewin up there, he's not getting any ball whatsoever. I'm not going to single him out because I don't think he could have done any better with the balls that he was getting in. So hopefully there's been a lot of changes, or not changes, hopefully a lot of talking in between, a lot of lessons learned from that game, because it was points dropped at the end of the day against a relegation rival. Not a lot of people like saying that, but they are a team that, and those are games that we need to win. When we are looking, what's the stat that to stay up, you need 10 wins, an average point of the game, which we are doing now. We're 8 games, 8 wins. not 8 games, 8 wins, 8 games, 8 points. So we are, let's double check that. Make sure, are they right? Yeah, 8 games, 8 wins. 8 games, 8 points, sorry. So a point of the game just. But they are definitely games that we need to be winning, which we'll go into a little bit later. But it means for me, this West Ham, and you don't like saying it so early in the season, is a must win. But anyway, we'll move on from that game. And as I say, hopefully there's been lessons learned, and then hopefully we can see some change on the field, especially against the West Ham side that for me look awful. I don't know if anyone saw that Brentford game, they were bad. And with Nuno being their new manager, but it'll just be typical Leeds where it doesn't go the way we want it and we lose 3-0 or something. I'm not going to say that, that's not my prediction, by the way, but you know, it's typical Leeds. So anyway, we'll move on to Daniel Farke's press conference and a bit of the news that has come out of that. So same as last week, there's going to be a few late calls on Willie Gnonto and Okafor, who are still making their way back to injury. I think it said it was 7 to 10 days for both of them last week. So fingers crossed one of them has shown some fitness or game fitness at the very least. I know we don't want to rush people in, especially Okafor, who has shown that he's had a lot of injuries, and I saw a stat the other day that he played something like 600 minutes last year all season, whereas across the start of our season he's played 400 minutes. So we want to be a bit careful with him and his injury. So I really want him to be back because he's shown a lot, especially going forward. He's our spark and we need that. But if hopefully he's fit. If not, then Gnonto. Out of both of them at the moment in terms of that, I would rather have rush Gnonto in. Not for playing wise, but injury wise. You don't want somebody that's injury prone continuing to have those recurring injuries. So yeah, that will be a late call on both of them, but hopefully, because we do need that attack, one of them can be fit, or Dan James, but I can't see anything on Dan James off of what I'm reading, so maybe Dan James can be up to full fitness and replace somebody in the lineup as well. For me, it'd be Harrison, and fingers maybe play Dan James on that left-hand side, Aronson on the right, because I don't think as much as that attack-wise, Aronson doesn't bring us defensively. He's done a lot, but I would rather Aronson play and Dan James on the left than Harrison play. That's just my preference. I know there's people out there that won't agree with me, and that's what we're here for, you know. That's just my opinion. We've also found out there is a bug going through the club at the moment, with Ethan Ampadu and Pascal struggling with illness. So they may be a doubt. Now, I know those are changes that we wanted, not Ethan Ampadu, but with Pascal, that's what everybody was hoping, so we could bring BL into the team. So we may get a lot of fans may get our wish in terms of that replacement, because Farke's hands are tied and he might have to bring BL into the starting lineup even if he doesn't want to. But for me, I think Pascal has been lacking over the last couple of weeks. I don't think he's been closing down enough. So I think that change should be made anyway. Whereas Ampadu, that would suck. That would be a bit of a blow. But again, it would mean, surely it would mean that Tanaka comes back into the side and into the starting lineup in a free of Longstaff, Stark and him. But we don't do well when Ampadu's out of the side, do we? So we'll see on those. Again, I think it's a late call. But depending on the sickness, we've all been sick before. I can't imagine playing a full game of football as well as training. So we'll see how that goes. From what I can see, that's the only changes at the moment. But when we go into the preview of the West Ham game. We'll talk lineups and what we can hopefully see going forward. So yeah, moving on into the preview, I guess. Bit of a segue there, horrible segue, but we go. Now, West Ham, I touched on it before. It's got to be a must-win, doesn't it? Early in the season, don't like to say it, but might have been a bit different if we didn't drop points at Burnley. Maybe if we came away with a draw at Burnley, this might not have been a must-win. But for me, it's a must-win. Let's just have a quick look here. Let's have a look at the table. I can't remember how many points there is a gap between us and West Ham. I believe, I'm pretty sure it's 3. We'll double check. Yes, 3. No, 4. Sorry. So West Ham are on 4 points. We're on 8. So if we can pull a win there, that'll be a 7-point gap between us and them, which at this point in the season with some tough games coming up, a 7-point gap could go a long way. So hopefully we can pull that out, especially with this West Ham team, who I don't think personally are any good. I don't think any of the teams below us are any good. I don't think Wolves are good. West Ham, I don't think are any good. Forest, obviously, I believe they got the win in Europa. Is it Europa or Conference League that they're in today? I'm pretty sure Europa. Doesn't matter. Under Dyche and appointing Dyche, so we'll see how that goes. They're probably going to be a hard team to beat going forward now. Don't like Dyche ball. Could be the new manager bounce. But again, I don't necessarily think they're better than us. So yeah, I think it's definitely a must win this weekend, especially with. But at the same time, they're going to be wanting that win. They're going to be needing that win. But we are at home. I don't know what the stats around us on a Friday night are under the lights, but at home. For that Tottenham game, we did have a really good record, albeit from the Championship. Just from one. Sorry, I thought I had it up, but it's not coming up. Never mind. But team list, what are we thinking? Let's go with that. I think it will stay true. I think it'll stick. I don't think Perry will come in the goal. I think he'll keep Darlow in there. He may be forced to make changes, so I'm thinking that Beale comes in because he's forced to make that change. You don't want to unfit Struick there. I just don't think he's fast enough to chase anything fitness-wise as well. I know he's fit, but when you're sick, you can't play football, can you? You can't run around for 90 minutes. And then he may be forced to make that change that we're all looking for and bringing Tanaka back into the side. We were, I guess, a lot of us were hoping it would have been for Stack, but it's looking likely it may be Ethan Ampadu, but we'll see how we go with that one. So for me, Darlow at the back, Bogle remains at right back, Rodon, Beale in the centre-back pairing, and then on the left-hand side, Gudmundsson, who's been one of the better players, and he was in that Burnley game, especially attacking-wise. That three of Longstaff, Tanaka, and Stack. Otherwise, fingers crossed, Ampadu can pull through, and then we see that three of Ampadu, Tanaka, and Longstaff. And then for me, Aronson on the right, DCL up front, and on the left-hand side, Dan James. I know it doesn't work. I just don't want Harrison on that left-hand side. I know there'll be people that say, you've got to play Dan James on the right. That's fine. If need be, maybe, but I don't think Aronson, he's not a winger anyway, but he can't play on the left-hand side. But I would rather Aronson. I know he gets a lot of hate, a lot of stick. I don't think he's good enough attacking-wise, but I would rather him than Harrison because I just haven't seen anything from him. And I don't think we have it wasn't great when we had him under Bielsa, but I don't hate any Leeds players. End of the day, they're a Leeds player, and you should support your club, you support your team. If they were in that white shirt, we support them. But I would rather Dan James on that left-hand side. But who knows? Could be a few changes there. I think same formation. He'll stick with the same formation there. But as I say, I hope if things aren't going our way, he changes things up. You hope that he learnt lessons and he's not, what's the word I'm looking for, stubborn, which we all know he is, and he makes those changes. And hopefully if things aren't going our way, he makes those changes early as well. But for me, I'm hoping that we just show a lot more effort. The team, for me, defensively and attacking wise, we look a bit different. We look a bit different from those first couple of games this season. I don't know if it's just coming back from that international window, which we suck coming out of it. But I know it's been touched on. That's something that Farke as well needs to look at. But I think we haven't been on the ball any good. First touch last weekend was horrible, so hopefully that can shore up a little bit more control. I know we had a lot of possession, but I don't think passing wise it was that good. First touch, it kept giving it up, which didn't lead to anything. Defensively, I want a bit more pressure. Those first couple of games, we put a lot of pressure on the ball. We force teams into mistakes, and we look good defensively. Now, I don't think we've got worse, but we shipped, I think this is 6 games over 3 games, something like that, 4 games. Whereas goals weren't going in at all at the start of the season. So down the line, it may not happen now, but goal difference is going to play a factor. So you hope that we're putting a lot more pressure on players going forward. And I think we do lose that if Ampadu's gone. So hopefully just a bit more effort from the boys. And then hopefully we can get some balls into Calvert-Lewin as well. Bit more spark attack-wise. But I don't know where that's going to come from, if it's the same team as Burnley. But who knows? We'll see how we go. But again, this West Ham game is a big one. For me, it's a must-win against a team that aren't going great. So we'll see how we go. But I'll leave it there. It's been almost 20 minutes. How do you think we're going to go? Make sure you like, comment, and share our YouTube channel, where we discuss all things sport, not just football or Leeds United. It's just a channel, and I'll move on, but it's just a channel where I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I'd love to chat and discuss sport with other people. So if you feel like getting in the comments or following us on social media, messaging us on social media, feel free to. As I say, podcasts have kind of kept me occupied since I was made redundant at work. So I thought I'd give this a go and just talk a load of shit, really. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, and share our page. And let's go Leeds. Prediction-wise, before I go, I'm hoping for a 2-0 win. But who knows? It may just be one of those games where it's off someone's ass or something like that. You know, we may get a bit lucky, you know, like Everton, where we got that pen right at the end. Really good game, but we got that pen right at the end. So I'm hoping for a 2-0. Maybe Aronson redeems himself. But one of those goals being a DCL goal, because I want him just to start making something of all those chances. So yeah, let's go Leeds. Marching on together. Tune in for the next episode.